Hello, good morning, and welcome back again to BPS. I hope you all are doing fine and you all are preparing for your APSC mains. So, every day at 9 p.m., these days we are going to conduct an APSC answer writing practice session. We are going to bring different thematic questions and we are also going to explain how to put your answers, in what order you need to put your answers, and what are the points that you can incorporate. So if you want to join the group, you can check the description in the link. You can join the group and we'll be posting one question per day, and just you have to answer that, and at 9 p.m. you can check the answers to that question. Oh, right. Now, PM Modi in Moscow amid Ukraine war, can bilateral visit solve multilateral crisis? So since all of you must know that Prime Minister Modi is on his Russia visit, and this is not his first time ever visiting Russia, but it is his first time visiting Russia amid the Ukraine crisis. Okay, so last time when he made a visit was during the year 2022. So what is the significance of this visit? How will this impact India Russia ties? Watch experts discuss. So I have watched the discussion of the experts and I have incorporated the points which I feel is important for you for answer writing, since this India Russia relationship is a very obvious question when it comes to the political science paper. So I think you need to be quite relevant while answering these kind of questions because it is a very obvious question. Okay, so what is the significance of Prime Minister Modi's first visit after the Ukraine war? So what are the issues that they have discussed? Now, Modi will co-chair the 22nd India-Russia Annual Summit with President Putin. The summit will provide an opportunity to the two leaders to review the whole range of bilateral issues. Now, there are a whole range of bilateral issues between Russia and India to discuss. Firstly, for example, there is a huge trade imbalance which is going on, and they have to discuss the trade imbalance. They have to also maintain the China factor. Okay, now India also needs to explore opportunities in the Central Asian countries, and it needs Russian support to do that. It needs Russian support to explore the opportunities for cooperation in the Central Asian region. Okay, and then it also needs to, it also needs to balance Russia's friendship in the ongoing crisis against you know China, because now China and India, there are a lot of problems going on, so it needs Russia as a balancer in between the relationship. Okay, now what are the things that can be discussed or which were discussed here? The last summit was held on December 6, 2021 in New Delhi. President Putin had visited India to attend the summit. So this is an annual summit this is an annual summit which happens between Russia and India as part of their friendship, and alternatively they do it. But they could not do in the year 2022 and 23 because of the Russia-Ukraine war. But now again they are conducting this. The summit saw both sides sealing 28 memorandum of understanding and agreement, besides coming out with a joint statement titled India-Russia Partnership for Peace, Progress and Prosperity. This one I am telling the last Wala summit when India and Russia set for that summit in the year 2021. So they had a long list of cooperation in terms of friendship, peace and prosperity. Okay. Now, reducing the trade imbalance would be a matter of priority. Now, this year, what they have discussed, the first thing is the trade imbalance. India remains heavily reliant on the Kremlin for its military equipment and has ramped up purchase of discounted Russian crude oil, giving Putin's nations a major financial lifeline as it faces isolation from the West. Since Russia has been largely faced a sanction from the West. Okay, so Russia needs a market to sell its oil, and India has become one of the largest largest importer of Russian oil. So what has benefited here? Both the countries have been benefiting. Now India has gotten very a discounted price of the crude oil, and Russia has also got a potential market, a potential buyer. Okay, now trade between the countries was worth rupees 65 billion in 2023-24, primarily due to strong energy cooperation, but most of it total flowed towards Russia. Now Russia is having an upper hand in the trade because Russia is mostly exporting and India is mostly importing. But we don't see that import-export wala fruitful relation in terms of India, because India is mainly the importer. So India is spending its reserves to buy Russian oil, reserves to buy its energy, all the necessary thing, and all the military equipment. So this is a very strong trade imbalance that we can see in the relationship. So this is what this summit is all about, and this is what Prime Minister Modi wants to talk to President Putin. Okay, now in terms of that, now Russia has got a big market in India, and plus not only market, Russia has maintained a lifelong friendship with India. Now it is a very challenging factor for India to not disown Russia in terms of market, but also at the same time to maintain a relation by not being quite dependent on Russia for oil or the energy imports. Now there is nothing against Russia, but the problem is it takes a huge cost on Indian economy to import a lot of things, especially the military equipment and crude oil, which are essential for a country. So these things, when we are importing from Russia, we are spending our reserves, we are burning our reserves, which is putting a huge pressure on the Indian economy. But let's say if the trade relation would have been in a very balanced way, if India would also export something to Russia, if they could export something to Russia, if Russia could give India a market for something to export, then I think the relationship between India and Russia could be more than market. Right. Now India is not trying to offend Russia by saying the trade imbalance or balance, but merely it is trying to pose the question that since we are making a deal in the market, I am not in a good position because I am mainly importing and you are exporting. So I am spending my money to buy from you. But we need to focus on more balanced trade because India and Russia have maintained a long friendship. So we do not want to offend Russia, and at the same time we want to continue that friendship because India and Russia have always maintained a good strategic relationship. The visit also comes as Russia draws ever closer to China. Now you see China and Russia are getting more closer and closer. Why? Because Russia has been heavily sanctioned by the West and Russia needs a market to export its product, and India and China, they are one of the greatest market for Russia to export its product. And also now China, since it mostly believes in the power of the economy, it does not leave any opportunity to grow, right? So that is why Russia and China have maintained good and ever closer relationship. And since China also does not have very good relationship with the United States, in terms of market it does, but in terms of the strategic relationship, in terms of military power, in terms of influence, and uh, in terms of ideology, it does not have a good relationship with the West. So in such cases, it becomes very obvious for Russia and China to maintain a good relationship. Now this is bothering India. Why? Because India and China have had a long skirmish. Now even India is protesting against what China is building dam in the Doklam area. It is building military equipment there. It is setting up villages. It is even China is even claiming certain villages in the Arunachal Pradesh. So all these things, border issues have been going on between India and China. So amidst these kind of tensions, now Russia, its closest ally, becoming more and more closer to China, is actually a worrisome factor for India. Now Modi's trip follows Putin's return from Kazakhstan, where the Russian leader last week attended the annual leaders meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a bloc of Eurasia countries spearheaded by China and Russia, at which he claimed Moscow-Beijing relations were experiencing the best period in the history. So this is what the Russian president said. They are experiencing the best friendship in the history. So they are saying that China and Russia have experienced one of the best friendship. Now this is a worrisome factor for India. First of all, because Putin had recently returned from the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's meeting in Kazakhstan, but India did not make a visit. India did not attend that meeting, which was scheduled in Kazakhstan. India did attend the meeting in the Uzbekistan wala, but not in the Kazakhstan. Now, what it matters most. This is one of the reasons that Mr. Modi is undertaking this trip, because traditionally the Soviet Union has always been the balancer in between relationship with China. Now since we are ongoing with a lot of border conflict with China, so that is why now we are looking into Soviet Union, the Russia, we are looking into the Russia as the balancer in between the relationship between India and China. Now you see India is losing its neighbors one by one. I did an article on this in the recent newspaper wala. So you have seen now we are not very much close with Maldives. Then we are also in conflict with Nepal, and since Nepal regime has changed now, and Prasanda's government has actually lost its election, so now it's a worrisome factor for India, because that government, the Prachanda's government, was mostly pro-India government, but now since the government has changed, now it will be more of a pro-Chinese government. So Nepal's relationship is also very volatile with India. Bangladesh is there, but Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina's government is pro-India. That is why we are able to make a lot of progress in terms of everything. But in case if Hasina's government falls down and someone else has come, then I think Bangladesh will also have a attitude of pro-China. Okay, this might happen. There is a huge chance. Plus, we have a good relation with Bhutan, but we cannot rely on Bhutan for a long time. We cannot have a sustainable relation with Bhutan, because mainly Bhutan is very much closer to China, and because of China's pressure, there is a chance that Bhutan might succumb to the pressure which is exerted by China. And since in the Doklam Valley we have seen what China has been doing there, so in lieu of all that, we cannot have, or we cannot make a belief, we cannot go with the ideology that India and Bhutan will forever remain friendship, because this is international relations, this is politics. Nobody knows what is going to happen. So we are not considering even a sustainable relation with Bhutan, but still it is right here there, so we are going to maintain. With Bangladesh as well, it is only a matter of change of the government. And then Pakistan, obviously we never had any good relation. With Maldives also we are not able to build good relation, but mostly with Maldives I would say that it was actually a very bad negotiation in terms of Maldives. And then Sri Lanka also, you see now Sri Lanka's many projects has been undertaken by China, but because of the economic fall down, now Sri Lanka is making progress towards its good relation with India, but I don't know how long that is going to last. So these are the problems that India is facing right now, because India is cannot depend on its neighbors in its defense against China, in its relation against China. So India has to depend on Russia as a balancer, because Russia is the one where we have always maintained a good and very traditional relations. Now, despite India being an SCO member, Modi was visibly absent from the meeting in Kazakhstan, indicating to some analysts that the leader of the world's largest democracy does not view the bloc as an effective channel. Now, this is a good point, because in the SCO, we never missed any SCO meeting. SCO is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is mostly an organization that deals with friendship and cooperation in the Eurasia and the Central Asian countries. Now, since India did not make a visit in the SCO meeting in Kazakhstan, many people are believing that India is not looking at SCO as an organization or as a platform where India can mostly benefit, because it is quite obvious, because SCO is mostly controlled by China. So since it is mostly controlled by China, the things that are going to work in the SCO may not work in favor of India. And plus Pakistan is also a member of SCO, so there will always be conflict between India and Pakistan in terms of agreements which is being held by SCO. So that is why many analysts are saying that maybe India does not consider this platform as a very sustainable platform or a very relevant platform to get what India wants to get. Now, this organization is a very brief. It was formed in 1996 in China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Tajikistan. Later in 2001, Uzbekistan was admitted as a sixth member, and India and Pakistan joined in the year 2017. Now, since Pakistan is also raging because of its deep economic crisis, so I don't think now Pakistan will be in a state to actually make any move against India. But still, we have to understand that SEO is mostly the main partners of the SEO, the main economic partners of the SEO is mostly China. So China controls most of the trade that happens in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization countries. So mostly trade is done in the Central Asia. So most of the trade has been controlled by China. So in certain aspects like that, India cannot think of any relevant points that can come out of that platform which is pro India. So that is why maybe many analysts are telling that India has not attended the platform because of this. Now since its inception, the SEO has had an anti-West character, of course. Now to counter United States in the Central Asia and the Eurasia, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization was formed. So it was a bloc. It is a bloc mostly to counter the Western influence in the Central Asia. Now everybody is eyeing on the Central Asia because they have huge reserves. They have huge energy reserves, and even the United States and the Western countries are also eyeing in the Central Asia. So this is exactly what Russia was trying to say when Ukraine wanted to join the NATO. So Russia said that Ukraine, NATO is expanding and NATO is not a very economic platform. It is a military platform. So if it is a military platform, if more and more countries join it, then it is actually a threat to global peace. This is what Russia was trying to say, that why are you bringing NATO, a military organization, at my doorstep? If it is an economic one, then it's a different thing, because things in the economy can be worked out, because there are things which you can work it out through cooperation, through leverage, and all those kind of things. But bringing a military organization at your doorstep is something very challenging to Russia. But the other countries where, for example, Ukraine, they were saying that Russia is trying to expand, Russia is trying to annex. So that is why, for protection, they wanted to join an organization called the NATO. So this entire organization thing, now I think, because mostly the problem arises with the nature of the organizations, now with the SEO as well. Now you see, this is mostly an economic organization which is mostly dealing with trade and everything, right? But still, since China deals with lot of trade in the Central Asian region, it is one of the biggest investors also in one of these countries. So it has an upper hand in terms of all the influences that it can get in the Central Asian countries. So that is why maybe India is thinking that it is not a relevant platform to put your opinions, to put your interest in this platform. And plus, India is also having a good relation with the West, and since Shanghai Cooperation Organization's nature is anti-West character, so maybe India does not quite well fit in the organization ideals. Now China, being the most dominant member in the grouping, leaves little space for India within the SU, as I told you. Now China's belligerent approach and border disputes with India further complicate India's position in the Shanghai Cooperation Organizations. Now India's engagement with Russia and Central Asia, what we can expect. Now Russia remains a major defense supplier to India and recently became the top supplier of oil to India. Okay, now India, that is what I was telling, ki trade imbalance. India is more on the importing side and Russia is on the exporting side. Now while India's ties with Russia may undergo a reset in the wake of prolonged war, since India would review reliability factor in case of defense from Russia, over a period of time India would also look to reduce its dependence on Russian energy. Now this is what we can call as a reliability factor, because India and Russia have always maintained a good relation, and India may continue to buy Russian equipment, Russian military defense from Russia, because it is more of a reliability factor that we can actually rely on Russia. Okay, with the West, the problem is with the United States. The problem is, if you are not working in the interest of the United States, they might not send you the military equipment, they might not make a deal with you, so you will be left with nothing. But in this case, India, since it has maintained a good relation with Russia, and of course vice versa, so there comes a reliability factor in terms of the military equipment. But India can definitely reduce its dependence on Russia in matters of energy, maybe in matters of oil, right? So if India reduces its dependence on Russia in matters of energy, then our pressure which our economy is dealing right now will have a lot of uh, you know our pressure will actually be lessened to a great extent. Now, India has always been working on increasing its outreach to Central Asia and Eurasia through various connectivity projects. Now you see, okay, now you see through Mumbai we can reach to Iran. Okay, we can reach to Iran, and then from Iran we'll get a direct access to all the Central Asian countries, and then from Iran we can reach to Moscow, that is in the entire Russia we can get access. And from there, when you see the blue line, just concentrate on the blue line. So this part is actually the Middle Eastern countries. So the entire graph is going like this. You see, the entire graph is going from here. You see, from Mumbai it is starting, it is reaching Iran, and from Iran, from the direct we can get access to the Central Asia, and then through that, if we follow the blue line, then we can see we are getting direct access to Moscow as well. And from Moscow, when we take dip towards Europe, okay, we are getting access to the European markets, and coming down from the Mediterranean Sea, we are also getting access uh, to the Persian Gulf, right? So we are able to make a transit we are able to make a trade route from Mumbai to directly to the Central Asian countries. Now why this is important? Because now we have to bypass Pakistan, because earlier in order to reach Central Asia we had to go through Pakistan and then through Afghanistan and then to Iran and then to the other Central Asian countries. Now, but if this international north-south transit corridor is successful, then we will be able to reach from Mumbai, we will be able to make a direct connection to Iran and then to rest of the Central Asian countries, and we will not have to be dependent on Pakistan to give us a access law. Okay, and then there is also the Ashgabat Agreement. Ashgabat Agreement is basically an agreement among the Central Asian countries, including Oman, and these countries, they have decided that there will be a lot of trade access to these countries. So it was actually signed in the year 2018 itself. It was called as Ashgabat Agreement. So all these connectivity projects will enhance India's trade and commerce with Central Asia and Eurasia. So directly from Mumbai port, we can make a transit route to Iran, to Central Asia, to Russia, and then we can make a route to Europe, and from Europe we can cross the Mediterranean Sea and also cover the Persian Gulf. So we can reach a lot of other locations without being dependent on Pakistan for giving us access or trade route. Now, since India's this route is very important for India to explore its more opportunities for trade and business, so it needs Russia to make this successful. It needs Russia as a balancer. It needs Russia as one of the friend who can exert influence in the Central Asian region in the successful implications of the international north-south transit corridor. Okay, so it needs Russia to do that. But now, since Russia visited the SCO meeting in the Kazakhstan, and it said that it is having one of the best relation with China, so this is what is actually worrying India. So India has lot of interest in maintaining good relation with Russia. So that is why Prime Minister Modi made a visit immediately after Russia came from the SCO meeting of Kazakhstan. Now all these projects would facilitate India to get access to the rich energy and diversify its energy needs. Now we are trying to loosen our dependence on the energy from Russia. We are wanting to diversify our energy requirements, because now we are pumping more and more money to get more Russian energy. But if we are able to diversify our energy needs, then it is not going to be a very much pressure on the Indian economy, first thing. And secondly, now after the Russia Ukraine war, since majority of the oil outlets have been have been sanctioned by the Western countries, so it is making a huge pressure on Russia to actually export the quantities to India as well. Now India has to wait long needs, and has to wait a long hours and longer days to get access to the energy from the Russia. So that is why we need to diversify our energy interests, because let's say if tomorrow there happens a war between Russia and the West, then India needs to have another source of energy reserves. India needs to have another country where it can actually depend to buy buy energy at a very less cost. So this is what India has been trying to do, and India wants to diversify its energy interests, and that is exactly the reason why now China and Russia's relation is actually bothering India. And that is why after Kazakhstan visit of Russian President Putin, Prime Minister Modi has made a visit to Russia. Now these connectivity projects allow India to circumvent Pakistan obviously, and strained relation with Pakistan have ruled out land routes access to Afghanistan and Central Asia. Now if this international north-south transit corridor, if this is successful, India will get direct access to the Central Asia through Iran, and if it gets access to it, if it gets access to it to Iran, it is also going to get access to Afghanistan. So we don't need to be dependent on Pakistan to give us the land route. Okay. Now Modi is expected to urge the Russian side to end the recruitment of Indians as support staff to the Russian military and ensure the return of those still operating in the force. So many of the Indian army personnel have been recruited by the Russian government in the Russian military as a support staff. Okay, because the Russian military now needs a lot of support staff while the war has been going on. So now Narendra Modi is telling that you need to stop recruiting Indians as a support staff, and you need to return those people who have been serving in your military. So these are the certain demands that are going to be put forward in front of the President Putin, and these are the certain bilateral issues that India needs to discuss with Russia. Now firstly is the close relation with China, which is bothering Russia. Secondly, it's the relevance of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, because many say that India is not getting the benefit that it needed to because of the influence of China in the Shanghai Cooperation. And thirdly, that India needs Russia's help to exert influence in the Central Asian countries to get access to their markets. So India does not want to piss off Russia, does not want to offend Russia, but at the same time India wants to discuss the possibility of the trade balance, because since India is importing, Russia is exporting more, so India is having a trade imbalance. So these are the certain category of points or the certain issues that needs to be discussed right away, and this is exactly the reason why Prime Minister Modi made a visit. So I hope I have explained to you enough, and if you want to incorporate these points in your answer writing, you can definitely incorporate, because this is going to give you an extra edge in putting your answer, because you always need to put relevant information when it comes to international relations, because politics in the international level changes on a daily basis. It changes everywhere. You are not able to know which country will do what, so it is going to change on a daily basis. It has been changing ideologically, it is changing structurally, it is changing, it is also changing strategically also. So these are the certain relevant things which you need to put forward in your answers, because once you provide a relevant information, then definitely the examiner who is going to examine, the invigilator, he's going to know that okay, this guy is well known, is well read, and you are going to get better points than the rest. Okay, so don't mug up all these things, but try to put your opinion on this. Okay, so we'll meet again, and do follow for the APSC answer writing practice test. We we are always we come with us with a different topic and a different theme every day at 9 p.m. and we will continue to do this until your APSC mains exam starts. Okay, so till then, take care, and you can get the link in the description. So do check it out, and thank you, and all the best.